Dr. Gideon TITI Offei is a prominent Ghanaian clergyman, educational entrepreneur, author, and motivational speaker, renowned by his leadership and societal contributions. As the founder of the Accra Business School and the Pleasant Place Church worldwide, he has significantly influenced education and leadership development in Ghana and beyond. His holistic approach integrates spiritual, social, and personal growth, mentoring young leaders and entrepreneurs. Dr. TITI Offei frequently speaks at conferences on leadership, personal development, and Christian living, combining Christian doctrine with practical life applications. An active author and social media presence, his visionary leadership impacts many across Africa. Academically, he holds a PhD in international business, a Global Executive MSc from the London School of Economics, and a Master's in Government and Leadership from GIMPA. Married to Lady Reverend Olivia for 32 years, with 4 children, exemplifying a family rooted in faith and love. With an astounding round of applause, help me welcome Dr. Gideon TITI Offei.
What I do is that I think. I solve problems. And people, so what consultants actually do is thinking for those who worry and charging them for worrying. So anytime you come to Accra Business School, you are buying my thinking and you pay me for it. Over the period, I've come to realize that it takes high performance thinking to provide the ideas that meet the needs of people. I have been through the process and I've come out with a framework known as the high performance thinking framework. And I want to share that with you. So when you read this book is not theories. This book is based on my personal experience. It's the summation of a 24-year experience living in an uncompleted building, no water, no electricity, no toilet facilities, to owning a university in the same place where I was a squatter. So let me begin by sharing with you what my definition of a high performance thinker is. For me, high performance thinking means transforming your mindset to achieve top mental effectiveness. Now it goes through a certain process to be able to transform your mindset into top mental effectiveness. You have to go through a certain process. The process begins by challenging your mindset, leading to a mind shift. This broadens your perspective into mind scope, enhancing understanding. As it grows, it becomes mind size, boosting cognition. Improved mindsight integrates past, present, and future insights, increasing mind speed. Ultimately, this clarity and coherence achieve mind sense, optimizing your thinking. So I read from a quote from my book. And you can see I've highlighted 7 key things: mindset, mind shift, mind scope, mind sight, mind size, mind sight, mind speed, and mind sense. Now, most people usually would talk about mindset and mind shift. But based on my experience, I have added 5 more to the framework of high performance thinking. And quickly, I want to run you through this. Dr. Tabel and myself have a second section, so I have some few minutes to deliver this. And I'm going to run you through it quickly. What I call the high performance thinking cycle. This is going to be the most important thing probably you have heard about how to use your mind this year. And I believe it's going to work because it has worked for me by the special grace of God. Can we begin the journey? Are you ready for this? Now here is the high performance thinking cycle. Now it begins by challenging your mindset. So what then is your mindset? It's the information stored in your mind that determines the way you interpret things. And the way you interpret things also determines your understanding, and your understanding determines your undertaking. When I ask you right now, what is the color of this shirt? We are going to say it is blue. But when I ask you, why is it blue? You realize that you have provided an answer without really thinking about it. Because you went to kindergarten and you were told color blue, color blue, color blue. And that is the information in your mind. Immediately your eyes saw it, your mind interpreted it based on the information already stored in your mind. So understanding is the interpretation your mind gives to the things your eye sees or your ear hears as a result of information already stored in your mind. Now, when I finish talking right now and I ask us to take an examination, right now, the same speaker, the same hour, the same voice, the same environment, but you will realize that we all had different interpretation of the things I've said here because of information already stored in your mind. Now, some of you came here, you already knew me and came here. TITI Offei is a brilliant guy. He owns a university. He's a chancellor of a university. With this information already stored in your mind, even if I say foolish things today, you will think that you are the one who did not understand me. Okay? You will think that TITI Offei is so brilliant that the things he said, I really did not understand. But probably I'm the one not making sense. Now, if you also came here, you know I'm a bishop, and you have this mindset that pastors do business with church, and you hate pastors to the core. No matter the sense I will make today, you will still think that this is a business guy trying to twist our minds to sell his book to us. So the interpretation you are going to give to the things I'm saying tonight is going to be influenced by the information already stored in your mind. So let me define interpretation, understanding again. Understanding is the interpretation your mind gives to the things your eye sees, your ear hears, your body feels as a result of the information already stored in your mind. Now, you cannot outperform your mind. Your understanding determines your undertakings. When you come to Accra Business School and you see what I have done on the Sprinters Road, it's a reflection of the capacity of my mind. It's a reflection of the accumulation of information stored in my mind, which has led to a certain interpretation of life for me, and which has led to my understanding, and my understanding has led to an undertaking called Accra Business School. Now, if you are not impressed with your undertakings in life, go back to the information in your mind. If you are not impressed, if I ask you right now to write the story of your life, how will you title your book? This book is about the story of my life, and it is titled The Mind in Charge. Because in my life, I've seen that the grace God has given me is to use my mind to generate ideas that solve problems. What would be the title of your book? If you are not impressed with your achievement, go back to the information in your mind. When you start challenging the information in your mind, if you challenge it well and you challenge it very well, like the way I'm challenging you now, it leads to something we call mind shift. Let me quickly explain what mind shift is. Mind shift, number one, is the renovation of your mind. I'm a builder, I love buildings. And sometimes at some point you need to renovate your buildings. And sometimes you get these guys come around and they go around the building and they say to you, you have to change. I remember one of the buildings, they asked me to change the entire wiring. I bought the building, didn't know much about it. I used it for some time and it nearly got bent. So now the experts came and said, no, the wires that were used previously were not good wires. So now I have to take out all the wires. Once we took out the wires, you felt, okay, let me make this building even nicer. So you brought in plumbers who went to your toilet and said to me, oh, you know, your toilets function nice, but this kind of toilet waste a lot of water. They are modern ones. And then others will come in and say, oh, your bulbs, this one is not used nowadays. It also wastes a lot of electricity. So you have to change it. At the end of the day, some things were damaged. We had to change it. Others were not damaged, but they were outmoded. Others were no longer efficient, and we had to take it out. So when you are doing renovation of a house, you change things that are damaged, you change things that are outmoded, you change things that are no longer fashionable. And if you have enough money, you try to make it very modern by repainting the whole building, even though it's not dirty. You understand? That is what we call mind shift. Mind shift is the renovation of your mind. There are information in your mind that are outmoded. There are things in your mind that is the reason why you are not progressing the way you need to progress. Listen, information is as perishable as tomatoes. And what you knew yesterday will not be relevant today. And consistently, you need to check the information in your mind and try to renovate the mind. Sometimes you don't just renovate the mind, you revolutionize the mind. So I bought a facility and I wanted to, it was an uncompleted building and I wanted to complete it. When I brought the engineers, they said to me, oh, the blocks have kept too long, the iron rods have been exposed for too long, so you cannot use it. So what was I going to do? I had to break everything down and rebuild from the scratch. Sometimes you have to offload everything from your mind and upload new information. It's not going to be easy, especially if you believe yourself that you are a very wise person and suddenly you realize that you were a fool. Now, the most difficult thing to do in life is to criticize yourself to the core. It's a very difficult thing to do. But sometimes the only way forward is to take that bold decision to unlearn and relearn. So that's the second stage of high performance thinking. And I did that. I grew up in a charismatic environment. I got born again at the age of 14. Became a pastor at the age of 22. Have built all my concept around Christians and all those things. And then one day, I just decided I needed a new world. I needed exposure. And all my schools have been in Christian schools. I said I wanted to do a master's in a secular university. I wanted to expand. I wanted exposure. I wanted to challenge what is in my mind. So I went out of my comfort zone, and guess what? I met people. I grew up at the time that there was a revival in Ghana, massive revival in Ghana. And our foundation, do not be equally yoked with unbelievers. And it was a very powerful stronghold. It became a stranglehold. It became a static hold. All these things are in the book. A static hold, a stranglehold. It was on my mind. I could not relate with people who were not born again. And I went into this school, and everybody there, almost everybody there, was born again, was unbeliever. And I had to relate with them. But I learned a lot. I unlearned several things and relearned new things. And I believe that is the essence of this conference. Now, when you unlearn and relearn, something else happens. You expand your mind scope. There's something called microscope. Most of the times when we are sick, we are not able to identify. You cannot just, some sickness you can look at the person in the face and tell you have malaria or you have, but some sickness you can't just look at the person in the face. You have to go beyond that. They take the microscope, they take your blood, put your sample under the microscope, and will discover, is it viruses? Bacteria, they discover it. So a microscopic leader is someone that have eyes for details. The person realizes the importance of little things, the little forces that spoil the vine, the little folly that destroys everything. And that leader doesn't leave anything out, crosses the T's and dots every I. And then there is what I call the telescopic leader. That is the leader that can see far, can imagine far, can see from ahead what is going to happen. Like when Kwame Nkrumah was building Akosombo Dam, he knew that something would come to Ghana called Dumsor. Imagine Ghana without. So Kwame Nkrumah was very telescopic in his leadership. And then we have what we call the endoscopic leader. The endoscopic leader is that leader that is able to go deep down inside you. For the first time in my life recently, I had to do something that I had to be put to sleep, and machines were put inside me, and they wanted to find something from the inside the bishop. And they went inside me and found Jesus. And then the periscopic leader, you know, when submarines are under the sea, how they see the top is through periscope. It's the leader that can see the top from even the valley, can see the mountain top. Now, when you challenge your mindset and you create a mind shift, you are not just a microscopic leader or a telescopic leader or an endoscopic leader or a periscopic leader. You are all. You see the smallest things. You are able to magnify things to see it. You see far, you see in, and you see up. At this stage, you have enlarged your mind scope, and you can really see far. Now, once you have gone through these first three processes, your mind scope, you have learned more, you have learned and unlearned, so your mind has expanded. It increases your mind size. But there are three types of mind size. We have the small mind leaders, the medium mind leaders, and the big mind leaders. The small mind leaders are people that complain, leaders that complain. For an employer here, you have some You might have some in your team, people you give responsibility to, and they will complain about everything, about the organization, about your leadership style, about the problems in the organization. They will complain about all these things. They are small-minded leaders. And then we have the medium-minded leaders who criticize. They do nothing. Even if you watch football with them, they criticize even Ronaldo. They can look at Ronaldo and say, we are also in Bobo. We are also in Bobo. Nipa Ofabo. And then they will get up. They will get up in the hall where they are watching it. Or say, what Fabo say? Fabo Nikos here. Now the ball not say. Oh, what a person. Now in Bobo, I think Aboma Barcelona. But they are very critical. And then we have the big mind leaders. They create. The big mind leaders create. Now, when you go do these processes, you generate what I call you become a big mind leader. You generate ideas. Can I tell you something? See, my suit is somebody's idea I use money to buy. My shirt is somebody's idea I use money to buy. My shoe, somebody's idea I use money to buy. My rings, people's ideas I use money to buy. My watch, somebody's idea I use money to buy. My spectacles, somebody's idea I use money to buy. Should I go further? My singlet, somebody's idea I use money to buy. Should I go more? So, you see, poverty is spending your money on people's ideas and nobody spending money on your ideas. That is why they sell suits to me and I sell knowledge at Accra Business School. The reason why Ghana is a poor country is because just in this room, how many of us, the shoes we are wearing were manufactured in this country? No. We go out now, all the cars there. We have imported cars, we even have Burkina Faso cars. So if we're a person that do not sell ideas, you become poor. I got myself out of poverty selling ideas. Now, when you create a big mind and you increase your mind size, what happens is that it moves you into something I call Mindsight. It illuminates your mindsight. Mindsight is a combination of three things. If you read the book, you will see. Hindsight, insight, and foresight. Your ability to become a reflective leader. Leadership happens within 3 days. Yesterday, today, and the next day. If you mess up any of these days, you are finished. How to maximize your yesterday, take advantage of your today, and predict the opportunities of the next day is crucial. And that is what high performing thinkers do. From here, you move to what we call my favorite, what we call mind speed. You think on your feet, you see ahead, think ahead, act ahead, move ahead, and stay ahead of the competition. My first motivational speaking in Nigeria, I got $4,000. And I was so excited. You know how it happened? I was speaking for a church. Apparently, there was a managing director of a bank who came and heard me speak. So, the senior pastor said, well, there is somebody in this church who owns a bank and wants you to come and address the managers. So I went in there, 30 minutes presentation, addressed the managers. Then when I finished, they said, oh, the board members are waiting for you in the boardroom. Before going to the bank, I read about the bank. These board members, Yale University graduate, Oxford University graduate, and I had not prepared for them. Then immediately they put me in the lift. They just assumed that I could just speak. They put me in the lift. And thank God when your wife has a big back, it's good. I asked my wife, turn your back. And she did. I took a piece of paper and a pen. and turn her back into a table. From the ground floor to the top floor, I have developed the 7 corporate strategies, the 7 team building strategies for corporate success. Whilst I was speaking to them, when I got there, there was a white envelope on the table where the chairman was sitting. As I was speaking, the chairman just called somebody, gave the envelope, said something. When the envelope was returning, it was a brown envelope. And I spoke to them for about 5, 7, or 10 minutes. And it was over. When I sat in the car, and they changed my car. When I got out, they had changed my car. They're giving me a new car with security escort. Then I looked at my wife sitting beside me. I looked at her. I said, "One worry me and be how pa." One worry me and be how pa. Oh, and she was smiling. I could see all her 32. So the ability to think on your feet is a sign that you are a high performance thinker. And it starts from this process I have just shared here. And I have all in this book. Then finally, it ends with mindset. When you have done all these things, you become wise. You become wise. Knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Now, quickly, let me now share with you the foundation of high performance thinking. The foundation of high performance thinking is to challenge your mindset. I've already said that. Think of mindset as the mental lenses through which you see everything. So the foundation is to challenge your mindset. Without challenging your mindset, you will not be able to start the journey into becoming a high performance thinker. So mindset are the lenses through which you see everything. Look at these 3 beautiful ladies. I have 2 daughters and a wife with 2 sons. So here they are. 3 of them. Now these 3 ladies here, right now, as you look at them, all of them, the spectacles they are wearing will influence the way they look at things. Won't it? The one wearing the red glassed spectacles will see this room as red. The one in blue will see this room blue. The one in green will see here green. That is how powerful your mindset is. Mindset determines the way you behold things. And the way you behold things determines the way you behave. And the way you behave will determine where you belong. Mindset, I've already said. Yeah, you can clap if you want. Mindset is data, accumulation of experiences, education, everything you have gone through. Data plus decisions plus direction leading to a destination. Right now, this is a destination for you. Today is a destination for you. If you are not impressed with where you are in life now, go back to the data in your mind. Your mind is a data center. Every experience you've been through, every education you've had, whether formal or informal, are stored there. You just have to go through a certain situation and it will just come up. The data there determines how you make decisions. And how you make decisions determine the direction of your life. And the direction of your life will determine your destination. Now hear this. The importance of high performance thinking. The importance of high performance thinking. In the corridors of power, high performance thinking is king. In the corridors of power, high performance thinking is king. Daniel chapter 1, verse 3 to 4. This was Nebuchadnezzar's instructions to one of his chief officials in his court. Then the king ordered Ashpenaz, chief of his court officials, to bring into the king's service some of the Israelites from the royal family and nobility, young men without any physical defect, handsome, showing aptitude for every kind of learning, well informed and quick to understand. Nebuchadnezzar defines high performance thinking. Number one, you must show aptitude for every kind of learning. You must be a servant of every branch of learning and a master of one. Aptitude for every kind of learning. Well informed and quick to understand. Aptitude for every kind of learning, well informed and quick to understand, and qualified to serve in the king's palace. And qualified to serve in the king's palace. So it's coming out from a certain culture. During those days, the kings were surrounded by wise men. These wise men were not necessarily old men, but young, well-educated men. So he goes on to say, and qualified to serve in the king's palace. He was to teach them the language and literature of the Babylonians. So still, to try to convince you that in the corridors of power, high performance thinking is king, let me give you a practical example. A young man by name Joseph, who was a convicted rapist. The Bible tells us he did not commit rape, but the people did not know. We are reading from the Bible, but the people in Egypt did not know that he did not commit rape. He was a convicted rapist, but he was also a high performance thinker. He interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh. And not only that, but also developed a 14-year economic plan that transformed Egypt into the then world superpower. So guess what happened? A prisoner, a convicted rapist, became the vice president. No, became the prime minister. Similar to what is going on in England. In England, there is a king, but there's also a prime minister. The kingship is only a ceremonial position. The prime minister is the one that has the political power, makes decisions, and directs the whole of the nation. And that was the position of Joseph. Because in the corridors of power, high performance thinking is king. And that is why you must go to the process I have shown you. The process I have shown you. In the UK, please give me signal when my time is up. In the UK, 7 of the last 10 prime ministers attended University of Oxford. Rishi Sunak, Oxford educated. Liz Truss, Oxford educated. Boris Johnson, Oxford educated. Theresa May, Oxford educated. David Cameron, Oxford educated. Tony Blair, Oxford educated. Margaret Thatcher, Oxford educated. Nobody went to Ayalolo University here. Because in the corridors of power, high performance thinking is king. High performance thinking is king. In the United States, 5 of the last 10 presidents went to either Harvard or Yale because they do high performance thinking. Barack Obama, Harvard educated. George Bush the first, Yale and Harvard educated. Bill Clinton, Yale educated. George Bush the Jr., Yale educated. Gerald Ford, Yale educated. It is not by chance that you are there. I'm trying to bring you to a point that the key to high performance thinking begins by challenging the mind. The gym of the mind is the library. A leader without a library is a liability. Now, out of the top 10 highly respected business leaders in America, 5 of them went to Ivy League universities. The CEO of Bank of America, the CEO of Bank of America, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, the CEO of Amazon, the CEO of Warren Buffett. Let's welcome the minister. God bless you. Warren Buffett went to Columbia University. Then the CEO of Alphabet and Google. All these guys went to Ivy League universities. High performance thinking begins from a certain classroom, begins with from a certain library, begins with education. Listen, every great country, let me go back to the presidents. Every great country has great leaders. Every great country has great leaders, and great leaders are produced by great schools, and great schools produce great programs like Accra Business School. At one point, Accra Business School had 15 MPs. 15 MPs, sitting MPs had come from Accra Business School. I think we still have a lot of MPs on Accra Business School and serious political leaders. Let me tell you this. Check. Every country that has invested well in education and has not politicized education produce the best brains. And these brains will change the country. But guess what? If your nation is not giving you the education you want, let me tell you what these great nations do. They sit down and determine the next 50 years, where do we want to go? We want to produce this number of IT specialists. We want to produce this number of medical doctors. We want to produce this number of engineers. Then they create programs, create schools, and start setting the mind. Your mind can be set like the way you set your watch. But if your country is not doing that, set your own mind. Determine for yourself. I went to university as a matured student. I went to university after I was married. I went to Central University with the pioneer. We were there. We prayed for Central to get accreditation. At that time, to get the accreditation, we had to do 7 days fast. Now, out of the top 10 billionaires in America, 6 of them went to Ivy League universities. Elon Musk, the guy who has over 220 billion, that man can pay the whole of Ghana's debt. Jeff Bezos went to Ivy League University. He has 210 billion. Mark Zuckerberg didn't complete but qualified to Harvard. So the small boys in this country who are going around education, even Mark Zuckerberg, I'm telling you, 1 year in Harvard it's like a PhD that cannot be compared to a Netherlands passport. Are you here with me? So the young people who are saying that Mark Zuckerberg did not go to university and blah blah blah, I'm saying that he went to Harvard. For one, even to qualify to enter Harvard is an indication that you are high performance thinker. To qualify to enter Accra Business School, you are a high performance thinker. Warren Buffett went to the University of Columbia. He has masters in economics. These guys are not rich for nothing. Their brains work. Bill Gates, 135.1 billion. All these men can pay our debt our desk from Nkrumah's time to this time. They can pay. Oh, yeah. We don't owe this much. Do we? We don't owe this much. Oh, yes. Now, the pinnacle. Am I supposed to end? I should continue? Okay. Now, the pinnacle. So, I have done the foundation of high performance thinking. Now, let me do the pinnacle. The foundation is mindset. The pinnacle is mind sense. And I want to share with you the 15 characteristics of a sensible leader. When you go through all these things, you must end up becoming a sensible leader. Number one, you must have an executive sense, making smart decisions and choices. These guys I've just mentioned, these billionaires, they make smart choices, smart decisions. They think on their feet. If you come and see what we are doing in Accra Business School, there must be some smart guy behind it who is making the smart choices. By the end of this year, we're going to give the biggest announcement we have ever given in this country. We're going to change the way education is done in this country. Number two, you must have emotional sense. You must have control over your emotions. Control your emotions. A leader who is just get angry and talk anyhow and talk back. I've always said to people, I've been a pastor for several years. None of my congregation members have seen my anger. Even when you do things I don't like, I control my emotions. It's called emotional sense or emotional intelligence. The empathic sense, showing care for people. If you want people to work for you, listen. One time, I was thinking about Accra Business School, and I was developing, and I started developing what I call soft success. How I built Accra Business School with soft skills. And one of the skills I have is relational skills. And inside relational skills is empathetic sense. How to feel the pain of the people around you. How to put yourself in their shoes. Then efficiency sense. How to use resources of the resources that you have. Well, there are many people who think that this guy may have some millions of dollars sitting somewhere for him. But one of the things I do is how to use small money to do big things. Because I have efficiency sense. And then esteem sense. Learn to appreciate and recognize the people who work with you. Don't be afraid to openly celebrate them. Don't be at all. I think that the best way to get people to work is not to focus on their weaknesses, but to focus on their strength. And then exhortation sense. Encourage the people around you. Then expert sense. Know your field well. Know well. Become a master. Become someone that people will appreciate the skills that you have. When I chair a meeting, I see the faces of my staff. I can tell confidence. You know why they have that confidence? They know they are dealing with an expert. They know that no matter the problems, they are young people. My human resource policy is discover, develop, retain. So I engage young people. I develop them and I retain them. And some of them have been with me for over 15 years to 20 years. Because they believe that this man is an expert in what he does. He has an expert sense. When your followers begin to discover that you have foolishness sense, they don't commit themselves to you. Then examination sense, your ability to analyze things in order for you to be able to improve it. All the time, examine this thing. And then execution sense, Many people do things, but leaders get things done. In our office, there's this slogan: I don't want your effort. Don't tell me about your effort. Tell me about your results. Don't tell me I'll work this out. I want to see the results. People want to see results. Then exploration sense. Open yourself to new ideas. Try to learn more. Ask more questions. Then extermination sense. Know how to face problems and remove efficiencies. Then experience sense. Learning from the past experiences to make better decisions. I'm concluding. Am I supposed to be concluding? Supposed to be concluding. Okay. Seeking epiphanic sense. Seeking and using wisdom and insight in decisions. Most of the ideas I get them when I'm praying. I'm unapologetically very, very Christian and unapologetically very, very charismatic. And I believe that all the things I have done has been as a result of, when I was growing up, everybody believed that I was a fool. And me, myself, I believed it. Oh, yes, I believed I was a fool. We'll go to school and girls will beat me. Then I come back home crying. My big sister was always fighting for me. I could neither read nor write. When I remember, I think when I was 10 or 11 or 12, my big brother here just wanted to help me. Food. So my big brother seized my lunch, and told me, Kofi, spell food. And then he said, Kofi, spell food. Food. I said, K. He just put the food down and said, who the way Jim? But look at me, the entrance of his word giveth life and giveth understanding to the simple. And giveth understanding to the simple. The entrance of his word giveth light and giveth understanding to the simple. And then expense sense. Your ability to make smart financial decisions. Can I tell you something? There's a difference between financial principles and financial personalities. Most people will talk to you about financial principles when you receive a salary. Put this one here, put this one there, put this one there. But it takes financial personalities to be able to obey financial principles. You understand? Your financial behavior is crucial for your success. And every smart leader knows how to develop smart financial behaviors. And then finally, exemplary sense. Following successful examples and creating new ways to inspire others. God bless you. Thank you for having me. God bless you. Thank you so much for having me. The Lord bless you and keep you. Father, help this word to enter into our hearts. Raise great leaders from this conference. And I want to thank you, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen. The next session is a conversation between me and Dr. Otabel. It's going to be a night you will never forget. So get ready for that conversation. Don't go anywhere. God bless you. When we close, I'll be out there. 200 Ghana cedis for this book, and I'll be signing. God bless you.
To announce that Dr. Gideon TITI Offei's book, The Mind in Charge, is available for purchase at our bookstand just outside the auditorium for 200 Ghana cedis. Don't miss out on the chance to get your copy signed by the author himself. Lastly, we thank you for being part of this transformative journey.
And all these things are in my book. And you need to get a copy before you. Now, yesterday, looking back to move forward. This is a very strange statement. How to move forward looking back. And as you can see, yesterday is an acronym of how many letters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the Y in yesterday refers to the years you have either spent or wasted. Yesterday refers to the years you have either spent or wasted. So it is for you to make a decision right now. There are 3 major lines in your life that you should have crossed. The first one are deadlines. You know, when you have a child, at a certain age, the child should be crawling. At a certain age, the child should be walking. At a certain age, the child should be talking. At a certain age, the child should be running. If the child starts failing to meet all these deadlines, then there is something wrong. In life too, you have deadlines. I believe that by 25 years old, you should have the skills that will take you out of poverty. Something that you must sell. A qualification, a skill, something that must take you out of poverty. If you don't have it, you have missed your deadline. By 40 years, between 25 and 40 years old, you should be laying solid foundations. You should be getting married. You should be building a solid career. You should be having your children. And you should be creating wealth within that period. From 40 to 60, you should be building on the foundations you laid between 25 and 40. Around this time, the children's behavior should be encouraging you. You should not be an older man trying to deal with bad boys and girls. Around this time, your career should have climbed. You should be earning enough not to do voodoo mathematics. You should be earning enough. Around this time, you should look at 40 years of living and you should be happy. Around this time, between 40 and 60, by the time you hit 60, you are retiring. There is nothing, thank God for those who say the founder of KFC started at 65. Thank God for his life. But you are dealing with an isolated case. You are not dealing with best practices. When you focus on isolated cases to console yourself, they don't read what happened to the 65-year-old man who started KFC. If you take 1 million 65-year-olds, they don't get those opportunities if they mess the first 60 years of their lives. If they mess it up, they don't get it. From 60, you work for posterity. You are mentoring people. People are willing to listen to you. There are 60-year-old men that their sons and daughters do not even want to listen to them. What kind of life is that? And then there are lifelines. When you miss your deadlines, every deadline you miss, God gives you an opportunity to face it. Most of the times, we don't see them. And then there are timelines. Listen. I'm telling you, I've been on the Sprinters Road for 25 years, and I'm telling you, see what I've done on the Sprinters Road. There are key timelines. By this time, when I came to Sprinters Road, I made up my mind. By the first 10 years on the Sprinters Road, I should have done this. By the second 10 years, I should have done this. I created key timelines, and I followed it, and it has worked for me. If you don't have, please, you can clap if you want to. You need to be able to cross these lines successfully if you want to succeed. So yesterday is the summation of the years you have lived. Yesterday is an examination. I don't know whether you pass or not. As we sit here right now, mark yourself. All the years you have lived. Is your performance excellent, good, pass, or fail? Well, let me not even say all the years you have lived. Can we mark the last 1 year? Will you give yourself excellent, good, pass, or fail? Let me not even go the last 1 year. Can we mark only this year? Can we just mark only this year? I'm a pastor. By January, Bishop Darkwood knows was in some island holding pastors' conference. By February, he was in some country running 3 days crusade in 3 days. I just asked myself, if God is to mark us within January and February, if Bishop Dark gets excellent, I will not get that. Mark yourself this year. If this year is even too much because we are already in the 7th month, we're in the 6th month. If it is too much for you, can you please mark yourself this June? Today is 28. The last 28 days of your life, what have you done with your life? Are you so proud? Can you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I passed yesterday's examination? The S in yesterday is strategy. Your success today reflects the strategic decisions you made yesterday. As you end? Okay. So, as part of my strategy, when the big man is coming, I stop talking.
As we prepare for the next session, we encourage you to reflect on the key takeaways and how they can be applied to your own leadership journey. Remember, today is not just about listening, it's about engaging, connecting, and transforming. Thank you for being part of this transformative journey.